What is up, YouTube? Welcome to the second video of the classes to play in Maplestory, a series that I am currently working on. Now, I like to keep my intro short and sweet, so let's just get straight into it. Starting off the list, we got the Warriors, and the first of these Warriors are the Dark Knights. Now, DK is one of the 3 Explorer Warrior, and they specialize in being the unkillable Juggernaut. They come with many skills that can increase their max health, increase their health regen, add lifesteal into their attacks, and a skill that can grant them a 40-second invincibility frame. Now, they will need to die first in order to activate this effect, but as long as they reach a certain number of monsters killed or hit a single target enough times, they will be granted a resurrection effect. Moving into their mobbing, 4th job and onward, they will be relying on Dark Impale as their main mobbing skill. And then you basically rotate between low cooldown skills like Evil Eye Shock, Nightshade Explosion, Spear of Darkness, and Radiant Evil to clear out maps. As for bossing, Dark Knights will be using Gunnir's Descent as their main bossing skill. It's a pretty solid low target attacks that just does a bunch of hits. For burst skills, expects to rely on Darkness Aura and Calamitous Cyclone, and of course we can't talk about Dark Knights without talking about Final Pack. This is your resurrection skill, and it has 3 modes. Each mode ties into the duration of the iframe, so if you got a short one, a medium one, and a long one, with the number of hits and enemy kill adjusted to match respectively. For mobility and utility, Dark Knights will have their standard double jump, they have an upward leap, a down jump, and then a rush. For party play, they have Hyper Body, which will increase everybody's max HP and MP, and then there's Hex of the Evil Eye, which gives everyone a flat attack and magic attack boost, as well as defense and critical rate. Now, Dark Knight comes with many self-buff and passives that gives them more damage based on their max and or missing health. Next on the list are the Dawn Warriors. Dawn Warriors attacks everything by switching between a solar form and a lunar form. Solar forms gives you more attack speed and final damage, whereas lunar form gives you more critical rate and double the number of hits of your skills. As you progress through every job advancements, Dawn Warrior gets more and more cosmic skills, which they can use for bursting down targets. Now, as for their mobbing, Celestial Vision is their main mobbing skills, and they'll basically use that throughout their whole career. In 5th job, they get skills like Cosmos and Soul Eclipse, which is great to clear out any maps with relative ease. Actually, all of Dawn Warrior's 5th job skills are useful for both mobbing and bossing, so keep that in mind. Anyways, as for bossing, again, they'll be relying on Celestial Vision as their main bossing skill, along with their many cosmic skill for burst. They also get True Sight, which is a debuff that lowers enemy defense, as well as increasing final damage done on the target, making this skill a very useful skill for party play. Now, in 5th job, they also get skills like Flare, Slash, and Rift of Damnation, which are both great for bossing as well. As for mobility, Dawn Warriors are actually pretty mobile. They got a double jump with an upward jump as well. They got Bluster and Flicker, which is their standard rush or dash skill, and then Equinox Slash, which is another dash, and then they got Luster Charge and Blazing Assault, 2 more dashes with built-in iframes. Switching gears into the Bowman's territory. First, we got the Wild Hunter. Wild Hunters are for those who likes to fight alongside a furry friend. Wild Hunters have their trusty Jaguar with them in pretty much all combat situation. The Jaguars come with beneficial passives based on which color you choose. Now, for training, they'll mainly ride the Jaguars for additional mobility options, whereas for bossing, the Jaguar will fight alongside the Wild Hunter, and they also have their own hotbar of skills to use. Mobbing wise, Wild Hunter would want to be mounted, of course. They'll be using Wild Arrow Blast, which is a key down skill that is also a hurricane skill. Now, they also comes with low cooldown skills like Primal Grenades and Exploding Arrows, just to name a few, to help clear out maps. Wild Hunter also comes with summons like Hunting Assistant Unit, Drill Salvo, and Jaguar Storm in 5th job to cover a wide range for those larger maps. As for bossing, be sure you're unmounted for this, and again, you're going to be relying on Wild Arrow Blast as your main bossing skill. You'll want to utilize your Jaguar's personal skill to attract and attack the boss with you. Now, you'll also get skills like Primal Fury and Wild Arrow Blast Type X, which are both great for bursting down bosses. Moving into mobility and utility, Wild Hunters will get their standard double jump on and off the Jaguar. Now, when you're riding your Jaguar, you'll just get more speed, and you're also able to use White Heat Rush, which is a diagonal dash. Now, there is an update coming that will let you use this skill off your Jaguars, and it's also going to let you use it left and right like a standard dash, so keep an eye out for that. Now, for being a bowman, Wild Hunter gets access to Sharp Eyes, which increases everybody's crit rate and crit damage in the party. And then there's also Call of the Wild, which gives everybody a 10% attack and magic attack boost, which is super good in late game. The second of the bowmans on this list is Pathfinder. Pathfinder is another one of the Explorer bowmans, and unlike Bowmaster and Marksman, Pathfinder have a gauge, a relic gauge. You'll fill this up by simply hitting enemies, and once you have enough, you can simply use those points to cast certain skills. Now, Pathfinder has 3 different forms that you can apply. You have the Deluge form, which is generally used for mobbing, Burst form, which is used for bossing, and Turret form, which is mainly used for mobility. Now, Pathfinder is a class that benefits a lot by using a macro. It is highly advised to put Cardinal Burst, which is their main mobbing skill, and Cardinal Deluge, which is their low target skill, on a macro key to basically turn Pathfinder from a 2-button class to a 1-button class. With that in mind, when it's come to mobbing, again, Cardinal Burst and Cardinal Deluge on a macro key will cover a good portion of a map. Pathfinder also get low cooldown skills that cover a wide range, like Combo Assault and Glyph of Impalement. They also have access to summons, like the Raven Tempest, and then there's Relic Unbound. Now, when you use this skill in Deluge form, you'll get a stationary turret, and if you use it on Torrent form, you'll get these pulsating glyphs around the map that hits everything near them. As for bossing, you'll mainly want to be in Burst form for this, and then you're going to be relying on Cardinal Burst and Cardinal Deluge on a macro key for consistent damage. Pathfinder also gets skills like Nova Blast, which is a great burst skill along with being an iframe, and then there's the enhanced version of your Raven Tempest, which fuses your Raven with Fury of the Wind, which is just another 5th job summon. They also get Obsidian Barrier, which is great to reduce damage, and it gives you a final damage boost if you're inside of it. For mobility, Pathfinder gets their standard double jump as well as an upward jump. They also get triple impact, which works just like the other 2 bowmans where you just jump in the sky and then stall a little bit. You also get Cardinal Torrent, which works like a teleport. You're able to move in a grid direction, but do note that these count as dashes and not teleports. Other than that, for being a bowman, Pathfinder gets Sharp Eyes, which increases crit rate and crit damage. And like I said in the bossing section, they get Obsidian Barriers, which is great for parties, reducing damage taken for everybody inside of it and increasing their damage as well. Alright, giving you guys some mage options. First is the Ice and Lightning Archmage. Ice and Lightning is one of the Explorer mages, and they specialize in area of effect, making them exceptionally great at farming and mobbing. They have a freezing stack gimmick, meaning hitting a target with an ice type attack generates a freeze stack. This stack can go up to 5, and it's basically a debuff that makes it so that any lightning type attacks will do more damage, critical damage, and ignore defense to a particular target. Ice Lightning gameplays revolves around keeping up these stacks to deal as much damage as possible with their lightning skills. As for mobbing, Chain Lightning is your skill. It bounces and travels pretty far, so expect it to kill something off screen. Next up is Frozen Orb, Ice Age, and Blizzard, which all covers a large portion of a map and should be used off cooldown. Ice and Lightning also get access to summons like Snow Spirit, Thunder Sphere, and then there's this guy, who I can't really pronounce the name of. Now, by the late game, you can be a very lazy farmer when you get access to more summons like Soul Janus and Urda Fountain. As for bossing, again, Chain Lightning is your skill, but this time you're going to use it in conjunction with Frozen Orb off cooldown to keep up those free stacks. Ice Lightning also get access to a buff called Infinity. It increases your final damage by 70%, and it maxes out at 115 as the buff goes on. Now, this buff is affected by buff duration, so basically, the more you have, the longer you get to benefit from the 115 final damage boost. Ice and Lightning also get some pretty strong lightning attacks like Bolt Barrage, Jupiter Thunder, and Lightning Orb. Moving into mobility, Ice and Lightning gets Teleport as their main form of movement. They also get a hyper skill enhancement for teleport that gives you more range, and then they also get an up jump that lets you stall in the air for a little bit. As for utility, Ice and Lightning gets Frozen Breath, which lowers the enemy's defense as well as being a bind. They also have access to Absolute Zero Aura, which is a party buff that basically raises everybody's status resistance, elemental resistance, and then lower damage taken. The second mage on this list is Lynn. Lynn is a pretty good support class that come with all sorts of heals and shields. They focus on juicing up that one hyper carry party member with a final damage buff, making them one of the best support in the game at the moment. Lynn fights alongside her spirit guides, which are a bear, a bird, and a wolf, all of which bring something different to the table. Now the bear is your consistent damage, the bird is for mobility, and the wolf is your bursty skills. When it comes to general combat, Lynn is a one-button class. You'll mainly want to use your Bear Strike as your primary attacking skill, your Bird is a summon and a toggle that passively hits and kills things for you, and then there's your Wolf skill, which has pretty low cooldowns, making them ideal to use while bursting and to clear out maps. For bossing, it's ideal to play in a party setting because you'll mainly want to use your supportive skills on your party members. Like I said, Lynn can give shields and heals along with dispelling status effects for the entire party. Now, the thing that makes all Lynn so sought after is their skill Awaken. This skill grants a final damage boost to one party member, letting them do some pretty bonkers lines of damage. Finally, as for mobility, Lynn is actually a double jump mage. She also gets a dash and then a leap backwards, much like most of the Bowmans. She also gets support flight, which is a skill that teleports party members to Lynn or vice versa. Now Lynn can use this on a single party member or the whole party, depending on the situation. Moving right along to the thieves. First is Dual Blade. DBs are the third branch to the Explorer Thief tree, and as their name suggests, they use 2 daggers instead of 1. DBs excel at survivability with many skills that can get them out of pretty much any sticky situations, with 2 of those skills giving them iframes. Now, they're a bit quirky, having 2 extra job advancement in first and second job respectively, but that doesn't mean that they get an extra skill or 2 over the rest of the classes. It's just that you used to have to buy their skills from the cash shop way back in the day. Now, when it comes to mobbing, Blade's Fury is their main mobbing skill. It's a pretty decent skill, although it has a smaller hitbox than you would otherwise expect, so be aware of that. In 5th job, their mobbing gets way better with the addition of Blades of Destiny and Blade Tornado. For bossing, this is where all DBs will strive, as pretty much all of their skills ignore enemy defense. They get access to Phantom Blow, which is their main bossing skill, and you want to use this in between your low cooldown skills. As for mobility, they get your standard double jump, and then there's Blade Ascension, which pops you in the air. You can actually use Fly Assaulter to dive back down, and then Tornado Spin as a dash. They also get a Self Haste, which speeds you up. Now, remember when I said DBs excel at survivability? Well, here they are. First is Dark Sight. This is a really strong skill that lets you ignore a certain mechanic and should be used very often. Next, it's Sidestep. It's a passive that increases your avoidability, and as a thief, your avoidability is already high, so this just juices it up even more. They also get Flashbangs, which blind the targets and makes you do more damage to them, and then there's Chains of Hell, their first iframe. Next is Shadow Meld, which gives you a chance to dodge attacks, and then Final Cut, which gives you a damage boost and also acts as your second iframe. Dual Blades also gets access to Mirror Target, which when summoned lowers the damage taken for you, just like that. Overall, if you can master all of these survival skills, you'll go pretty far as a Dual Blade main. The next, air quotes, thief on this list is Xenon. Xenon is a very special class in Maplestory, and that's because they are considered both a thief and a pirate. As such, their primary stats include strength, dex, and luck, so having all stats on your equipment potential line will greatly benefit them. Speaking of equipment, as a hybrid class, Xenon can wear both thief and pirate armors, which is actually pretty neat. Anyways, as for gameplay, Xenon have a gauge, and naturally they will have skills that you can spend those gauge points on. They also have a couple skills with 3 different versions that they can utilize depending on the situation. Moving right into their mobbing, in 4th job and onward, you'll be using Mega Purge as your main mobbing skill. Now, this is one of those skills with 3 different versions, but for mobbing, stick with the Bombard version, which has more of a horizontal range to it. Or you can go with the Bombardment version for the vertical range. As for the other skills, they get the Hypogran Field, which creates a zone that will damage anything that comes into contact with the bouncing ball. This skill also has 3 different versions, but most people just stick with using the purple one. Other than that, Xenon gets a full map attack with Orbital Cataclysm. This is a skill that is also one of their iframes. When it comes to bossing, make sure you're using the snipe version of Mecha Purge. Other than that, Xenon is a very safe class whenever you want to burst down a boss. With skills like Orbital Cataclysm and Omega Blaster, both of which gives you a pretty lengthy iframe, Xenon can actually go full invincible throughout their whole burst. Other than that, you'll want to take advantage of Xenon's many mobility options to duck and dodge incoming attacks. As for mobility, there's quite a bit. Xenon gets a triple jump. They can also use an up jump with the takeoff version of Quicksilver. They also get an extra bounce in the air when you're using the Vision version of Combat Switch. And finally, they get Diagonal Chase, which is just a diagonal dash. Now, they do have a utility skill for party play, and that is called Temporal Pod, which reduces the skill cooldown of your party members by about 60 seconds. And finally, we got the Pirate. And the first of the pirates is the Cannon Master. Cannon Master wield literal cannons as their weapon of choice. They are also the third branch to the Explorer Pirate tree, and they are extremely good at clearing out maps, with most of their skills having wide hitboxes. Mobbing wise, once you hit 4th job and onward, you'll be using Cannon Bazooka. This skill has great horizontal range that can reach things off screen. Cannon Master also gets 2 summons, which is Anchors Away, which pulls in enemies and periodically deal damage to them. And then there's Monkey Militia, which summons 2 monkeys on 2 turrets that will attack anything around them. In 5th job, they get the CMD, or Cannon of Mass Destruction, which fires giant missiles that looks like the bullet bills from the Mario games. Now, these will slowly fly in one direction, hitting everything that they touch. As for bossing, you'll want to be using Cannon Barrage as your main bossing skill, and then you'll mostly rely on skills like Rolling Rainbow, the CMD, the Nuclear Option, Monkey Business, and Pool Maker for high burst damage. They also get a pretty neat buff from their hyper skill. It's called Buckshot, and it basically increases their attack speed and then triple the number of attacks for all of their skills. For mobility, it's pretty simple. Cannon Master gets a double jump. They also get an upward jump. You can also use it as a bounce. And then they get Blast Back, which is just a short backward dash. Other than that, for utility, Cannon Master are known to have Monkey Magic, and in 4th job it gets upgraded to Advanced Monkey Magic, which increases your HP and MP, all stats, and then speed and jump. Last but not least, we got the forgotten hero, Shade. Shade is an all-around simple and versatile class that is great for party play, solo play, and everything in between. They are a fairly safe class with solid mobility options and a revive skill that essentially gives you an extra life. Shade recently got a full remaster to most of their skills, which really smoothed out their gameplay experience and brought them into the modern era of Maplestory. Mobbing wise, in 4th job and onward, they'll mainly use Bomb Punch, which has a huge hitbox and does 3 consecutive hits. Although you don't always have to use all 3 hits. They have a summon called Spirit Frenzy that covers a good portion of a platform, and they also have Fox God Flash, which deals damage to everything around you periodically. Oh, and they get Spirit Incarnation, which is a full map attack as well as being your iframe. During bossing, Shade will mainly use Spirit Claw as their main bossing skill, with True Spirit Claw activating passively every few seconds. When it comes to bursts, Shade will rely on using Spirit Gate and smashing Multi-Punch to deal the majority of their damage. Now, as long as you remember to use Spirit Gate before using smashing Multi-Punch, you can mess up everything else and you'll still do the majority of your damage to the target, making Shade a very forgiving class. Shade also has access to Soul Splitter, which I'm going to be summarizing here, but if you hit something with this, preferably a boss, it'll create a greenish or bluish zone, and any party member within that zone gets a 15% final damage boost, whereas you will get a 20% final damage boost, which makes Shade a very sought after class for party play. As for mobility, Shades gets Foxtrot, which is a teleport to the nearest enemy, and then they got their standard double jump and a very snappy backstep, probably the best in the game. As for survivability, Shade has access to Summon Other Spirit, which is their revival skill with a 30-minute cooldown when popped. They also have Death Mark, which does damage over time, but also heals you over time. Spirit Incarnation, like I said, is their full map attack with an added iframe. And finally, Fox God Flash, which also restores your HP periodically. Alright, and that is it for this video. Of course, there are many more classes that I haven't talked about yet, so keep an eye out for more videos like this one. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys later.